Alright guys, we're working on a Weber Summit Silver Series. It's one that they do not want to get rid of because the newer ones are so thin and cheaply made. This from I think the back in the like mid 2000, 2004, 2005, 2006 lasted much longer, and they bought this brand new. And it's been falling apart over the years slowly, but these old ones last so much longer than any of the newer ones with the big giant thick pieces of the different grates and stuff that they use on the new ones. They're super thin and kind of chintzy, so they do not want to get rid of this thing before it's gone. And what they did was they actually hooked it up to household gas down there, and then they put a quick connect in over here with a shutoff. So this stays. Whatever it needs to stay running is what we do. So the igniters a few years ago rotted out on it and weren't working anymore, and they ended up buying the kit to replace it. They found a kit on Amazon that has the little ignition module, it has the different screws and stuff, the push button igniter. The ignition module sits right here, but those screws are rotted into that platform, and I pulled the top grate off right here to get a view of what's going on. I replaced the rotten ones already. The long one goes here and the short one goes here, and the module's right there. So the short one would need the shorter length, the longer one would need the longer length to come over here. This one, those screws are rotten in there, and I'm still recovering from hernia surgery, so I don't want to be bending down a lot. I'd like to stay upright because it feels the best. And the only way I could see getting this panel out of here, I'm not a grill expert, is I'd have to pull these side slots off, which it slides into. I'm not going to do all that. So I'm going to find a way to secure this in front of the ignition module that's already there. I just don't have the patience right now to take it off. I could probably reuse the ignition module that's on it. It would be completely fine. But I'm going to go ahead and put a new one in for safety reasons that come with the kit. And basically pull each wire apart and put it all back together. You've got the two main wires right here that feed, and they come around and they go over to the actual button itself. Which is right here. So I'm going to pull this old one out of here, and then I'm going to start replacing each wire one by one, and then we'll see where we get. Yeah. So this old one was so rotten, it just snapped off, just came off of there. So now I'm going to transfer these wires over one by one to the module. Now you can see the new wires that come with the kit. One has these type of connectors on each end, and then one has a spade and a plastic connector. The one I pulled off was the one with the two plastic on each end, so that's what I'm going to do first. And that goes in this back port. So I'll plug that in right now. So I could reuse the old one because it's nice and smooth, but it's a little burned up. I'd have to clean it up some. The new one, they give you that shell, and it's so wide. With those tabs and stuff on the side, it will not fit into the slot. You have to pull it off in order for it to fit in. So for right now, we're going to leave it like that. And then I'll come back and I'll probably put some dielectric grease down in there in the future, and then fill up the outside with silicone to give it some kind of shell to protect it. But as of right now, this is how this unit is going to go back in there. Just so you can see what I got going on. It's too wide to fit inside the hole. You got to take that shell off of there. So when you put the battery in there, you're going to have the positive side going into the assembly, and you're going to have the negative side going into the spring. So you can see I've got it mounted now with the two wires there. Slide the assembly up in there. You can give it a quick test before you hook up the igniters, and you'll hear it pop, pop, pop. So let's try it real quick. Okay, so we're popping. It's functioning. It's working fine. Well, it seems to be working fine anyway. So now let's go ahead and find a way to go ahead and secure it up here the rest of the way, and get our other two connectors hooked in. Now, It should not really matter. The short side will go here, the long side will go here. So your left side of your burner tray over here, short side, it'll go into this one, and the long side will go into this one because it's closest to this side. So I'm going to get it mounted up in there and then hook up the two igniters to those other two ports. So we've got a little change of plans here. She did not get the right ignition module. There's an extra 2 wires that go in the end of it, where this little like ignition module thing, it's not the right one. It actually has another 2 slots right here on the end for your side burners, and that's not what she got. She got just a regular basic 2 burner setup, and these extra wires like this one here and this one here had nowhere to go. No, this one here and this one here had nowhere to go. So I had to take it and rewire it back into the old ignition module, and then just put my 2 connectors at the end just like I showed you on the smaller one, and then hook my burner on this side here. I ain't got no light on my camera right now because it's going dead. And then this burner over here on this side goes into the smaller slot here. As long as they go in there, they're fine. They're all gonna light up. And then this I got mounted and everything in, so now we gotta try it out. And it will not work with this ignition module. So I guess we're gonna only have the function of the 2 burners. So I'm gonna have to swap everything back over to that little ignition module and only run on the 2 burners and not have the option for the 2 sides until they get the right ignition module. Now you can see how I kind of got it zip tied right there, just resting on the front of it. So I put everything back the way it was. I mean, girlfriend's mother got the wrong one, and it is what it is. We got to make do with what we got, right? Let's just throw these on here real quick. This cover's just held on by 2 Phillips screws, by the way. It's nothing too crazy. Hey. There it goes. One thing I don't like about it is those won't stay in there. So I'm gonna have to close those clips up and put them back on the ignition module. So turn all these back off now that I know that it works. Put it all back together and then work on those connectors and close them in. Well, got it all cleaned up and put back together. That was a little crazy. It's all cleaned up, put back together. Let it heat up a little bit. So, worked pretty good. Worked pretty darn good. So, I love this, man. There's something about these older grills that were just thicker like this. Even when they start falling apart, they just work so much better than the new grills. The new grills are so chintzy and so thin. And this has been going since, I think, 2004. And it just works phenomenal, like it's brand new. Well, I wanted to show you all a little bit different side of me. I show you guys some household appliance stuff sometimes and repairs of other things. This has been down for years, and they've been burning their hands trying to get this thing started, dropping matches down it and stuff like that. And when you're dealing with household gas and you don't have a way to controlled ignite this thing, as you can see when I first lit it up, you know, imagine that being open with that much gas in there, and then dropping a match down in there. At least I had the lid closed, and I left the burners on just a little too long. I probably should have did one burner on each side, but that's just a little demonstration on what could happen. Y'all be blessed. Thank you for watching.